Okay? You hear me now? Okay? You hear me now? So, let's start again. I'm sorry, some technical difficulties. Let's hope the voice is okay now. So, once again, what we are speaking today about is breast augmentation. Before we start, please subscribe to my channels, my Instagram and my YouTube channel. The links are here. And hopefully the technical difficulties are gone and we can start with the topic. So, today's topic is our favorite topic, and that is breast augmentation. We will speak about who does breast augmentation, when they do it, why they do it, about your partner and breast augmentation, about cultural differences, and about society. So very, very interesting topics, and let's start with who does breast augmentation. So, I mean, the women, mostly women of course, and they are divided into 4 or 5 groups. The most common group is the group of women after pregnancies. So that are girls or women who already had children, who are not planning to have more, and so they want to change or to return their bodies to the situation it was before the pregnancies. What happens with breast during the pregnancy? It usually gets smaller, not always, but usually gets smaller. It gets it can drop a little bit. It can get stretch marks, and that are all things that women want to fix to get back into the shape, to have a beautiful body, to have beautiful breast like before the surgery. Then the second group would be the very, very young girls who have genetically small breasts or some asymmetries or other deformities. When is the earliest we can do is very, very individual, very subjective, you know. There are girls we operated who had like 15 or 16 years, but due to some genetic problem, they had some bad asymmetry. So there was some small procedure or smaller procedure done just to fix the asymmetry, with plans to fix it finally, I mean later on, definitely. Otherwise, you know, girls with smaller breasts usually come at around age of 20, long before they are planning to have kids, so they can have a beautiful, youthful shape of the body, even though the genetics didn't give them such opportunity. The third group is getting more and more common. It's a weight loss group. That are women who lost a lot of weight, sometimes even 100 kilos. These are much more difficult cases because they don't need just, you know, breast augmentation. Usually they also need breast lift. Then the fourth group is more and more common. That are women who are a little bit older. You know, nowadays women into their 40s or 50s or even 60s still feel young, and they finally maybe have an option or a chance and time to get in shape, to fix their bodies. So it's not so rare nowadays to make breast augmentation in women who are over 60 years old, and usually they're really happy with the result because they finally have you know, the wish they had for since their childhood or since their youth, it had finally come true. And there's the fifth group, which is, you know, a job-related group. So that would be girls who work in as dancers, as movie stars, and of course they needed to do their job. So 5 groups of women who perform, who come ask to do plastic surgery. I mean breast augmentation, of course. So the next question is when do it? Well, this is also quite a tricky question, you know, because usually what we as plastic surgeons are looking for is a stable body situation. So we want our patients to stay stable in the way of weight. I mean that it doesn't change, that they don't start to do new hobbies. I mean, before no sport, and then they get you know, very enthusiastically into sports. So we want them to be stable, so that their body is of course finished with development. So young girls in about maybe 18, 19 are not such good candidates, because you know they can still grow, their breast can still get bigger and can still of course develop. Then pregnancies, of course, I always ask girls or women who are in their right age if they're planning to have more kids, you know, because even if they have 2 kids, if they say, okay, I'm planning one more maybe in 2 years, I would not suggest to do breast augmentation in such cases. You know, first do the kids, then we do breast augmentation, because you know the pregnancy can change the shape a lot. So why do a procedure which is generally very long term, has a very long term result, and then have a child after a year, and that could mean that we have to do a correction in 2 years. I mean, it's much better to finish with the childbearing and then do the procedures to fix the body and enjoy the body for long term. Of course, another aspect of when to do it is when the health is stable. This is an operation that is not necessary, of course, in the way of health. I'm not talking about beauty now. And you know, the first and most important thing always is the safety and health of the patients. In no way should the patient get worse in health after the surgery that she was before surgery. So the health should be stable, they should be in good health before we do the procedure. And of course they have to do it when there's time to recover. There is a certain period of time, usually about 1 or 2 weeks, that when the women should rest a little bit more. They should have a less stress, less activities, of course, somebody to help them. So that is also a very, very important aspect. So when the procedure is done, the person should have time to recover. It's a little bit individual, it depends on the work they do, activities they have, but you know, that is something that should be considered. So let's go to the next question. Why do it? Well, you know, everybody knows why. I mean, probably they have to have the bigger breast, of course. But you know, what is the trigger to do it? It's you know, usually not such an easy decision, because still it's an procedure, it's an operation without any real medical indication. So health-wise, this procedure is not important or should not be performed. There is of course always the risk of side effects, complications, of course pain, certain limitations after surgery, and you know, it's something unknown. So everybody has a little bit of fear before doing such a procedure. So the person should be motivated to do it. The trigger to do it is usually, of course, to look better. Maybe a dress doesn't fit like it did 15 years ago before having kids. Maybe, like I said before, the genetics didn't allow them to wear nice bra. So that are all some frustrations that lead to us actually to bring the patient to us. So we fix the problem. And usually this has a very positive outcome, because there is a realistic expectation, there is a solution, and like I said before, this is safe and predictable procedure, and the outcome is positive. I mean, these girls are usually very happy and satisfied with the result, and you know, they enjoy it a lot. There is also negative triggers, you know. There are cases when the women do these procedures for others, like to look good for their partner. This is a much more difficult situation, I mean, also for us, because you know, it's, even though if you do everything great, and the partner is not satisfied, because of course it's not always the breast that is the problem, you know, that can be other issues, other topics. And so the patient is not satisfied with his wife anymore. I mean, the new breast will not fix it, you know. It's a very, very different problem, or a deeper problem than just the breast. It can be so. I mean, the result cannot be even though you do the best job. If even you could do the beautiful breast, beautiful augmentation, beautiful result, you know, if this woman is if the partner lets her, or you know, divorces or whatever, you know, they will blame you, you know, because even though you did the procedure, the result is not what they were expecting, because they were not expecting a beautiful breast, they were expecting their partner to stay with them. So that is a very, very important psychological phenomena. It's something that we should recognize when we speak to the patients. That's why it's very important to speak to the partner, or for the woman to speak to their partner about what they're going to do. You know, usually, or in most of cases, the partners, husbands, boyfriends, or whoever, they accept it. I mean, men like bigger boobs. I mean, it's like a definition. But you know, not all, of course, not all. Or their partner, they might like a bigger breast on other women. So of course, the person, the woman who is asking to do such a procedure, or wants this procedure done, should first speak to their partner about it, of course, because I mean, also after the procedure they will need support, they will need somebody to take care of them, they will need somebody to clean, to cook, to, I don't know, drive a car. So they need the support, and if they don't get the support, they will have difficulty getting over this period of time. When a woman presents this wish, this idea to their husband, you know, the responses usually are, you know, positive, you know. Of course, the husbands are very, very they're smart, you know, and the first answer usually is, "Oh, honey, I like you the way you are, but if you really insist, I mean, we can do it, of course." The second question would be how much, of course, and then since when do you have such a desire, and do we know somebody who has it, you know, because of course you have some role model or somebody that you would like to look as her. But you know, so usually women get support from their men, but there are some men who really prefer smaller breasts, and you know, they might not give such good support. In reality, even though they do not like the idea at the beginning, they probably will like the result at the end, you know, because as I said before, men like bigger boobs. I mean, that's a definition. And then, you know, is the third group of men who is a little bit more problematic, a little bit more specific. These are the men that would never support their wives to do this, to have this done, you know, to do this procedure. Usually because they are jealous, you know, and they think, oh, if my wife will have bigger breasts, she will look attractive for others, or they might think she's, I don't know, easy, or I don't, and I know it's just a mentality of certain men who would prefer their woman to look as she is, so they would not be look too attractive for others. Well, such men exist. That would be about the partner and their view of the whole thing. Like I told you before, there's the final group of partners, which is quite, like I told you before, the negative ones, who might suggest their partners to do this, but you know, they have really it's not that they would they would like this result, that they would prefer their wives, but you know, they just might to like bigger breast, and they want their wives to look like somebody else. Maybe they somebody know, or some, they don't know, some like a star, or I don't know, mistress or somebody, you know, that it would help, you know, to maybe like their wives again. But you know, it doesn't happen, and you know, this is just a small aspect of the whole relationship, so it's not going to happen. After, you know, the partner dilemma, there is the dilemma of cultural differences. I work in different countries. I work with patients from more or less from Italy, from Slovenia, and from Macedonia. And the cultural differences are very, very big, you know. There are women from our country, from Slovenia, are more modest. They prefer smaller breasts, they prefer results that nobody will see. They prefer not to speak about it. So they keep it to themselves. It's their intimate thing, it's their private thing, and you know, even though they have had it done, they would never even, you know, tell anybody about it. You know, if somebody would ask them, they would say, no, 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 it's mine, it's just the bra or whatever. Then there are the girls from Italy. They're quite different. Not all of them. It depends if they're from the south or from the north. You know, the southern girls are much more energetic, maybe, you know, much more they have more open, so they will speak about their boob job to others, of course, to their friends, to their families. They will go online, they will show new cleavage, they will show a new bikini, and you can expect to have, if they're happy, you can expect the whole of the family to come to you and have it done, some sort of procedure with you, to have done some sort of procedure with you. Maybe not breast, maybe something else, but you know, once they like you, they take you part of the family, and they will bring everybody else. And then, you know, interesting from Macedonia, there's another aspect, you know, there's the aspect, you know, if we are doing it, let's do it big. So the volumes, the milliliters that they usually use in the south comparing to the north is quite different. In the south, usually we do bigger implants, rounder implants, so it shows. So so they can, when they're wearing sexy dress or bikini or whatever, so it's visible that other can see, and they say, oh wow, look at her, she has them done, and she's sexy and everything. So the girls from the south like it big. The girls from the north, much more modest, like the girls around us. And then, of course, there's the society aspect. There are different societies, different groups of women. In some societies, this is the breast augmentation and aesthetic surgery is much more acceptable than in others. You know, like there are certain groups, certain classes of people where they all do it. You know, it's just, you know, a matter of time usually when the kids are made, when they finish with pregnancies, they do their breast augmentations. So there are groups of women where they all have it, and then of course there are other groups who are much more modest. They might consider doing it, but they would never show it or tell to others that they have done it. Usually this is the girls like from the rural areas, not from town, from smaller communities, maybe villages. You know, they still do it, but they don't talk about it. They keep it to themselves. So, any questions for today? So this is all for today. It was the like a psychological and maybe sociological view of breast augmentation. Tomorrow we will cover the technical aspect of breast augmentation. So types of implants, planning surgery, how to do it technically, how to prepare for the surgery, and all these interesting things. Once again, please follow my accounts, and well, enjoy.